Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Lydia Odijeochi. We're glad to have you join us. President, African Development Bank Group, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, has pledged the bank's support for the recharging of water to the Lake Chad Basin. Dr. Adesina made the pledge during his discussion with Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari at the ongoing COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland. The AFDB head, after a meeting with President Buhari at the COP26 in Glasgow, confirmed he asked for the president's leadership to help on the recharging of water to the Lake Chad Basin with a promise to rally behind the Nigerian leader. He stated that the cost of inaction is greater than the cost of action as it regards reviving the dried Lake Chad. The shrinkage of Lake Chad has been pointed to be one of the main factors responsible for insurgency and socio-economic unrests in the Lake Chad Basin Commission member countries, which include Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria, as major sources of livelihood, including farming and fishing, of about 40 million people living along the Lake Chad Basin are said to be affected. Preserving public confidence in justice processes is vital for entrenching a sustainable democratic society. This is, however, subject to the enactment of relevant laws by the legislature. Chief Justice of Nigeria Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed mentioned this during an oversight by the Senate Committee on Judiciary in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Justice Muhammad Tanko, who affirmed the independence of the judiciary, requested the senators to intimate him on any legislative observation made about the country's federal courts administration.
I'm very confident that our legislature is doing the right thing, and I am sure that they are observant of what we do.
President of the Senate is fully committed to any reform and legislative initiatives that will ensure effective and efficient justice delivery system and respect for the rule of law.
The Senate oversight continued with the Federal Court of Appeal, Federal Judicial Service Commission, and Federal High Court headquarters.
More funding is needed in order to meet the competing needs of the courts and judicial bodies.
The committee, after being briefed on the expenditure by the Sharia Court of Appeal and the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, has promised to consider infrastructural decay of some federal courts and provision of information technology in the proposed 2022 budget. In Abuja, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
The 2022 budget of the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has more than doubled following a federal government's memo. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali will tell us why.
From about 4 billion naira in 2021, the proposed budget for the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation in 2022 is pegged at 10.4 billion naira. The Accountant General said the increase is due to the recent directive that payments of emoluments of their staff on deployment at foreign missions be captured in the budget of the Accountant General's office.
The foreign service element is being introduced to our budget for the first time this year. It used to be with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but with some administrative changes, this has now been shifted to our office.
The Finance Committee used the defense session to warn the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority over its refusal to engage with the committee.
The law, whether made in error or even rightly, is not superior to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are using this opportunity to inform that agency. If they fail to present their budget, there will be no appropriation for that agency this year, 2022.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Agricultural Production and Services is touring parastatals under its purview on the 2021 budget performance.
Your professional responsibility is key to enhance food security in this country.
The visit will enable the committee assess their financial performance for 2021 as they get set to defend the 2022 budgetary proposal. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Electorates in the upcoming Anambra State governorship election have been reminded by guests on Good Morning Nigeria of some of the negative consequences of selling their votes on Saturday. Thomas Obetere reports.
In 3 days, the much-awaited 2021 Anambra State governorship election will take place with about 18 political parties for the ballot. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria noted that the people of Anambra must understand that succumbing to the temptation of vote buying will keep Anambra in the state of underdevelopment, total negligence of the people, and other negative challenges bedeviling the state may continue as the electorate will not have the moral justification to hold their leaders accountable under such circumstances.
In this election, the Anambra people not to allow their conscience to be bought, not allow anybody to come and bring peanut for them in the name of buying their vote, because that their vote is what will help to change whatever they consider as bad governance or good governance that will come.
To that extent, we're going to have a free and fair process, yes. The militarization notwithstanding, just come out from your home, move to the closest place, which is your polling unit, vote there, remain there, cast a vote, and go home.
Guests also admonished the electorate to come out en masse to ensure that the best candidate is voted to steer the wheel of leadership towards solving some of the peculiar concerns across the state. In Abuja, Thomas Ubetere, NTA News.
We still have more Anambra governorship election, but first let's join Adeni live in Lagos for an update. More reports on the collapsed building in Lagos. Adeni, is over to you. What's the latest?
Good afternoon, media, and welcome to Lagos. It's still a very busy day out here on the 3rd of the collapsed building here in Ikoyi, Lagos. It's been about 50 hours, and right now the search and rescue operation, the search and rescue operation is still ongoing. About 6 excavators have been deployed, while one is on standby to be called into action at any time from now. Earlier today, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, was here. He took a tour of the scene, and later he addressed journalists and families of in this accident. He told journalists that several measures have been taken by the government, one of which is to ensure that relatives get, they get closure, they get justice. He started by telling us that a 6-man panel of inquiry has been established to, among others, investigate the remote and other causes of this particular incident. He also said that the general manager of Lagos State Building Control Agency, Mr. Bolaoki, has been suspended for now as part of measures to ensure that the proper investigation is done and justice is served. Apart from that, he also he told families of those who are trapped under the rubble that 9 people were rescued alive, but others who died, he gave 21 as a number, have been taken to morgue, and autopsy has begun to actually identify those who are involved so that families can retrieve their body for proper burial.
Michael, it's over to you.
disaster was averted in Lagos this Wednesday around the Ikeja axis due to the quick intervention of emergency responders to the scene of a gas pipeline burst by some unidentified persons. Abolade Salami reports that no casualty was recorded.
Residents around Oba Akran and Nifowoshe streets and Medical Road along Ikeja underbridge in the early hours of Wednesday were in panic owing to a gas pipeline leakage allegedly burst by some unidentified persons. The situation, which was quickly brought under control by emergency responders, averted any form of disaster to persons and property.
We now noticed that it was the way, gas has its own sound and noise. So people started running head-to-skelter to God be the glory. They called Lagos State emergency for fire and all that. So they now came and they make sure things are in order.
They want to remove some scrap there. In the process now, they call the gas pipeline. They're not the contractor. You can do that's what they want to call.
Safety officials at the scene have therefore advised shop owners not to open for business or use any naked fire for safety reasons until all investigations are concluded. In the meantime, traffic has been diverted to ease vehicular movement while the area has been cordoned off. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Media practitioners are advocating strengthening democratic tenets to create enabling environment for journalists to operate and safeguard the interests of the citizens. This view was shared at a workshop for journalists tagged Safety of Journalists in a Pandemic Nigeria, Max Cup or Shut Up. Days of impunity against journalists are gradually being eclipsed with liberal legislations which empower than limit. But as observed by this platform, the coronavirus pandemic created more human rights challenges than ever, with journalists most affected. This is, however, supported by a Geneva-based non-profit press emblem campaign that 861 journalists have died of COVID-19 in the last 1 year.
Most countries classify the media as essential service workers. If they are really essential service workers, the kind of protection that we're giving to nurses to protect themselves while they carry their duties, I think something close to that should also be applicable to the media.
As the fourth estate of the realm, the journalist has the mandate of keeping tab on societal issues as they affect the citizens. This role will be fruitful if the society returns the trust in form of protecting journalists.
Democracy thrives through the freedom of expression. Democracy thrives through accessible to reliable and truthful information. And for society to thrive, the press must live up to the expectation. They must unmask the truth.
The conveyor of the workshop was inspired by a UNESCO's record, which indicates that 1,200 journalists have been killed between 2006 and 2020 for bringing the news to the public, while 9 out of 10 of the killers work freely without prosecution.
And to the judiciary, we want justice. When a case is brought to them concerning either the journalist or anybody, it should be viewed on the merits of that case.
The Nigerian Union of Journalists is working on a constitutional review that will further protect practitioners and closely monitor conveyors of fake news. That is it from here. The news continues shortly after this break. Please stay.
Thanks for staying with us. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the rehabilitation of the National Arts Theatre Lagos is expected to be completed in November 2022. The minister stated this when he defended the ministry's 7.8 billion naira 2022 budget before the Senate Committee on Culture and Tourism. Ignatius Nkwo has more.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, arriving the 2022 budget defense session of the Senate Committee on Culture and Tourism. His third visit to the National Assembly in less than 2 weeks. At the center of this engagement was the scrutiny of the 2022 budget of the culture and tourism sector and the need to make the sector Nigeria's top earner through improved private sector engagement.
The capital related to culture sector is 778,060,757 naira.
In line with this year's budget defense,
we should try to engage private participation to build the tourism industry. Dubai, as hot as it is, as bad weather it is doing well in tourism. And it is not necessarily that government must drive tourism of every country, but government must give incentives.
The digital switch over too, sir, by the time it's completed, it would really set the tone for the cultural revolution of this country, sir.
The committee demanded to know the status of the rehabilitation of the National Arts Theatre in Gamu, Lagos.
If this administration, by the grace of God, is able by November 2022, sir, commission the rehabilitated National Theatre, I think it will be a big achievement for this administration, because this theatre was built in 1976, and for almost 5 years, sir, it had never received any facelift.
Lai Mohammed observed that in spite of paucity of funds, the ministry has repositioned the creative industry and has continued to make significant improvement in returning Nigeria's stolen artifacts. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Expectations of a participatory and credible process that will feature a new approach to conduct of elections are high ahead of Anambra November 6th governorship election. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that experts and stakeholders on NTA's current affairs program, Tuesday Live, say it will serve as a litmus test to INEC's efforts to perfect conduct of elections in Nigeria.
Election remains an acceptable instrument for periodic transfer of power under a constitutional democracy. That explains why the process is seen as fundamental in any democratic setting, as stakeholders in the next election to be conducted in Nigeria are strengthening collaboration to ensure that the Anambra governorship election fulfills these aspirations and through a peaceful means.
We have made adequate arrangements for their votes to count. We have also made concrete arrangements to make sure that we secure the lives and security of the ad hoc staff that will be deployed, and also the voters.
Discussants on NTA's current affairs program Tuesday Live are optimistic that arrangements made by INEC and security agencies will guarantee a process that will reflect the popular will of the people.
Government had to take this painful decision, manage public affairs the best it can, deploy security agencies the best it can, roll out advocacy campaigns, negotiations with established groups that are not too radical, that can be able to douse some tension.
Whoever emerges from that process will begin to build back trust, so that in 2023 and then in the elections that will come up in Anambra State in 2025, that will begin to see people who are more enthusiastic to exercise their franchise.
The panel is also quick to appeal for responsible use of the social and conventional media within the period to facilitate peace and stability before, during and after the election.
We must be very responsible, because whatsoever we post, we should be mindful of those who are gullible not to even think it through whether that is fact or fake.
Every minute draws the electorate in Anambra closer to the D-Day, and it is expected that they will play by the rules on their bid to democratically get a successor to the incumbent whose tenure comes to an end. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Still on the governorship election, the Anambra State governorship election is perhaps the most talked about political topic in recent times. The intrigues surrounding the election made it so, with the threat of no election by the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, constituting potential problems to national security, political and socio-economic progress of the region. The visit of the IGP is to boost the confidence of the electorate and men of the force from commands. The IGP, while interacting with the officers, he warned against unethical acts and urged them to be orderly while discharging their election duties. The IGP later had a closed-door meeting with top officers Earlier, the IGP had posted 34,000 personnel and assets to the state, with DIG Joseph Egbunike coordinating the security component of the election. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has ordered the immediate posting of CP Bartholomew Nnamdi Onyeka to Plateau State Command as the new Commissioner of Police in charge of the state. A statement by the force indicates that the posting follows the redeployment of CP Edward Egbuka to the force headquarters for other national assignments. The IGP, while assuring the people of Plateau State of the unrelenting commitment of the police leadership to containing prevailing and emerging crimes in the state, charged the new Commissioner of Police to deploy his community-building experience in ensuring improved public safety and security of lives and property of the citizenry in the state. Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun says from January 1st, 2022, residents with no evidence of full vaccination of COVID-19 will be denied entry into government offices and schools, including market outlets in the state. The governor stated this at the flag-off ceremony of COVID-19 mass vaccination campaign in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Yemi Dalemo reports.
Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun at the flag-off ceremony of mass vaccination against COVID-19 in the state said the campaign, in partnership between the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, is to ensure that 2 million residents in the state get vaccinated against the pandemic.
We will not allow others to carry you. We will not allow taxis to carry you. What we allowed in our markets, we will enforce this card. So to be forewarned is to be forearmed.
This should be an impetus. It should be a motivation for Nigerians to take the vaccines so that we can go back to the way we used to live.
The state has also increased the number of COVID-19 vaccination centers to reach the nooks and crannies for the exercise.
From here, we're going to roll out 442 fixed vaccination sites. We're going to have mass vaccination sites such as this in every local government.
Stakeholders at the event commended the initiative, while some residents seized the opportunity of the campaign to receive their jabs of the COVID-19 vaccine.
It's great to have it because it's a preventive measure to curb the COVID-19.
It's really good to do it.
Residents from the age of 18 and above are advised to come out en masse and get vaccinated so as to flatten the curve of the virus.
We now join Sadia in Sokoto for more reports on Nationwide. It's over to you, Sadia.
Thank you, Lydia. About 400 wet and dry season farmers at Sala village and its surrounding communities in Tambua local government area of Sokoto State have been presented with water pumping machines to improve food production. The machines were distributed by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. Sheikh Muhammad Detti reports.
Federal government has continued to accord top priority to agriculture in the interests of the nation's food security. This time around, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, through the Sokoto Rima River Basin Development Authority, is supporting farmers with water pumping machines. Director Agri Services, Sokoto Rima River Basin Development Authority, Professor Ahmad Ladan Allah, said it is part of government's effort to boost food security and employment opportunities in rural areas. Federal government is to construct tube wells and boreholes to benefit the communities and ease farming activities.
And we feel that is the easiest way we can create a lot of jobs, get people out of poverty, out of unemployment, make them to have income so that they can have a sustainable means of sustenance.
District head of Dogondaji, represented by Umar Majidadi, tasked farmers to utilize the machines for the purpose they are meant for. Some of the benefiting farmers thanked the federal government for the kind gesture. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar has been described as a traditional ruler and monarch that has been towing the path of simplicity to all since his coronation as the Sultan of Sokoto. This was part of issues that dominated paper presentations on the progress and prospects of Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar at his 15th year commemoration of the 20th Sultan of the Sokoto Caliphate. Reports.
The paper presentations on the progress and prospects of Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar were presented by Professor Ishaq Akintola from Lagos, as well as Dr. Umar Mustafa from Borno State. In their paper presentations, issues on the uniqueness of the monarch, his positive impact on the fight against gender-based violence, out-of-school children syndrome, Al-Majiri phenomenon, among others, were highlighted. Also touched were his contributions towards ending religious dichotomy, tribal differences, unification of Muslim Ummah, as well as ensuring peaceful coexistence in different aspects of life in the country.
And we want to commend him for living such a simple life, even though he had the opportunity to do whatever he liked and to live a life of pomp and pageantry.
By the establishment of the Sultan Foundation for Peace and Development, we have achieved so many things, and most importantly, girl-child education, which is really a very, very successful program, and various forms of abuse against women.
Discussants at the event that included Sekina Lawal from Lagos State and Imam Fuad Adeyemi from Abuja analytically viewed presentations on the personality of the monarch, which makes him accommodative, generous, kind, and just, among others, as some of the features that enabled him to impact positively on the lives of Muslims and non-Muslims in the last 15 years of leadership. To strengthen this, Adeyemi admonished Muslim youths to work towards ensuring greater unity of Muslims in the country. Chairman of the event was Emir of Argungu Samaila Muhammad Mera. In Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's now back to Lydia in Abuja.
Many thanks, Sadia. In a bid to strengthen the humanitarian environment in the country, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has organized a training for stakeholders on capacity building for better understanding on the use of cash and voucher assistance for beneficiaries. Ruth Agwele reports.
Achieving social inclusion in any society cannot thrive effectively without financial inclusion, and cash and vouchers are critical for providing humanitarian aid to beneficiaries. To that effect, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is collaborating with development partners to sharpen shared understanding on the use of cash and voucher assistance to identify and develop an inclusive policy that will strengthen the capacity of cash and voucher assistance in the country.
It's about giving people choices so that they can prioritize how they use scarce resources. And it's not up to us as the providers of assistance to decide what is important for them in their lives.
Cash and voucher assistance is rapidly expanding modalities for the delivery of humanitarian assistance in Nigeria. The Honourable Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, on resumption of office, identified the gap and included the development of a national cash and voucher assistance policy in a strategic 7-point agenda.
A communique is expected at the end of the training with enhanced capacity to address operational challenges faced by operators and make cash and voucher assistance seamless and easily accessible to beneficiaries. In Abuja, Ruth Agwele, NTA News.
In spite of the successes being recorded in the fight against drug abuse in Nigeria, recently, more needs to be done towards ensuring that youth stay away from the menace. This was the central theme at the 20-year celebration of Center for Ethical Rebirth among Nigerian youths and the flag of Major General IBM Haruna nationwide campaign against drug abuse and insecurity. Haman Jabani reports.
Dynamite so far.
Drug abuse can affect all aspects of a person's life beyond their physical health. It decreases a person's productivity and challenges the community's sense of security, love, and peace. It is against this background that the Center for Ethical Rebirth Among Nigerian Youth, Serani, a voluntary organization, was conceived 20 years ago to be a catalyst for the moral awakening of Nigerian youth through sensitization, enlightenment, and equipping patriotic and credible fraction of Nigeria's youth population for the inevitable battle against drug abuse. Celebrating its 20 years of existence, the organization launched the Major General IBM Haruna nationwide campaign against drug abuse and insecurity with the aim of government at all levels, public and private sectors, to key into the fight which they believe is linked to insecurity.
If you cut the supply of substance to all these bandits, these criminal elements and insurgents, you'll find that this whole thing will begin to go down.
Major General IBM Haruna and representatives of Chief of Army Staff, Chairman NDLEA, governors of Osho, Niger, and Kogi states, as well as other speakers, commended Serani for its campaign against drug abuse over the years, while appealing for all hands to be on deck in the fight.
Young people of Nigeria to take ownership of the fight against drug abuse and insecurity. Because what is really at stake is their future.
The Major General IBM Haruna nationwide campaign against drug abuse and insecurity is to commence with Sokoto State and ends with Lagos State. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
11 inmates of the Medium Security Custodial Center, Ibarra, Ogun State, have been matriculated into the National Open University of Nigeria to study various courses. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Olufemi Peters, wants the inmates to be good ambassadors of the university in their conduct and urges them to have thirst for knowledge and be a generation that will restore Africa's pride to help change the continent after their release from custody. In a statement by the Public Relations Officer, Nigerian Correctional Service Ogun State Command, Victor Oyeleke, Controller General of Corrections Haliru Nababa, also implores the matriculating students and other inmates to take advantage of the opportunity given by the university to add value to their lives. There are currently more than 3,000 inmates undergoing various programs with the National Open University of Nigeria and other higher institutions that are in partnership with the service. Jos is next, and Zinret is standing by with more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Zinret.
To ensure public safety on roads in the state. Priscilla Grumnan reports. Plateau State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has paraded suspects who...
We hope to rejoin just as soon as they are ready. Let's go on. The Nigerian Army is upscaling support for the ongoing mobbing of illegal arms across the country. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, stated this when he received the Pioneer Coordinator, National Center for the Control of Small and Light Weapons, Major General Abba Diko, on a working visit to the Army headquarters. Proliferation of weapons, the Army Chief says, partly accounts for the increase in crime wave in parts of the country.
The spread of these weapons is one of the key causes of this violent crime. All of them, even the one in the northeast, if there are no small arms in their hands, they would have been there. The police would have just cut all of them. The most we can do is strengthen up our own defenses around the border. If they pass well, we can see. But now other things that can be done to control this is in the diplomatic cycle that I believe the centers are liaison with the National Security Advisor could now take it up.
Center for the Control of Small and Light Weapons, domiciled in the Office of the National Security Advisor, is part of ongoing restructuring of Nigeria's security architecture to strengthen regional mechanism for the control of proliferation of weapons. The Nigeria Television Authority, NTA, is working towards upgrading its Kano station to a network center to ensure wider coverage. The Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, stated this during an interactive session with the staff of the station shortly after attending the launching of the digital switchover in the state. Elizabeth Yila Lamido reports.
The mandate of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, is to provide independent, impartial broadcasting, as well as serve as a tool for national integration. With broadcast stations in all the 36 states in the country, the NTA also has 10 network centers to improve efficiency and better coverage. While attending the launching of the digital switchover in Kano, the Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, took time to visit the station in the state and had an interaction with the staff. He also reiterated his commitment to upgrade the station to a network center come 2022.
One of the advantages is that we can anchor the network news straight from Kano, right? And we can take the governor's broadcast live straight from Government House, and we can have reports, reporters reporting live from locations. So the advantages are enormous. We do hope and pray that latest by March next year we'll have a network center in Kano.
Yakubu Ibn Muhammad commends the management and staff for putting in their best in discharging their duties and urged them to continue doing so, for to whom much is given, much is also expected. From Kano, Elizabeth Yilalamilo, NTA News.
We'll now go on a break now. Nationwide continues in just when we come back. Yeah.
Thanks for staying with us and welcome to JOS. Plateau State Government has resolved to bring sanity to the transport system in the state with the inauguration of a 7-man interim management committee on road traffic administration and vehicle inspection to drive this course. Governor Simon Lalong, while inaugurating the committee at the Government House, charged members to work with relevant security agencies to ensure public safety on the roads in the state. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
It is in continuation of the state government's effort at ensuring enhanced road traffic management and safety that it signed into law the bill for the establishment of the Plateau State Road Traffic Administration and Vehicles Inspection Authority in 2020. Governor Simon Lalong says despite his administration's commitment at transforming the transport sector, the state has witnessed increased vehicular traffic and distortions in road transport management, leading to congestion on major highways, proliferation of motor parks, indiscriminate parking, and increase in crime. The governor assures of his administration's readiness to perform the groundbreaking of the British America Junction flyover, as he urges the committee to work closely with the Internal Revenue Service to ensure all levies, penalties, and fees are collected.
This committee is to prohibit vehicles waiting or parking on any specified highway within the Jos Bukur metropolis, as well as to regulate the conduct of persons driving, propelling, or in charge of or riding any vehicle or animals on highways within the metropolis.
We are promising you that we are going to work with you in order to achieve these noble objectives that you have set for the state.
The committee members are constituted from government agencies and the Road Transport Workers Union. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
Plateau State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has paraded suspects who specialize in vandalism of power cables and railway accessories. Caleb Gochin has the report.
Briefing newsmen, Commandant NSCDC Plateau State Command Alexander Bisa Barunde says the arrest of the suspects followed due diligence on the part of communities and men of the command.
You can see some scraps, and then the railway slippers was concealed under the net. The investigation is on. We are trailing to ensure that the owner of the truck is being arrested.
Cyril Peter Shiong, who confessed to the crime of stealing JEDC armored cable, says he's pushed into the crime to cater for his family.
I stole the armor cable from transformer
On my way coming, and the community police in my environment, in the place I went to store, they arrested me and took me to the civil defense office.
Driver of the truck conveying the stolen railway sleepers, Umar Bala, and his assistant, Saddam Umar, who spoke in Hausa, say they are unaware of the stolen items. Also in custody of the command is the rider of a tricycle, who is said to convey some individuals who robbed a lady of her valuables.
I carry passenger, I don't know they went and commit crime. They now come and arrest me.
The suspects are to be charged to court soon when investigations are concluded. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
And that's it from here. There's more reports with Lydia in Abuja.
Thank you, Zinret. Nigeria is exploring more definite measures in the quest for securing its cyberspace, especially as the world is experiencing a worrisome advent of cyber threats. At the moment, key players in the sector are increasing their sensitization efforts across the country while taking necessary steps to fast-track the implementation of the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy to mitigate risks. ICT correspondent Joseph Johnson, who was at the Nigerian Communications Commission's annual Cyber Security Conference, has more.
Technology advances in the digital space amplifies vulnerability opportunities which malicious parties seem quick to exploit, thereby slowing down the gains of digital economy. In this cybersecurity conference organized by Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor, experts are exchanging ideas on how trust is valued by institutions, businesses, and the public, as they insist that the digital economy should be built on trusted technologies and partnerships, which will in turn ensure strong cybersecurity that rides on public's confidence, security, privacy, and safety.
The NCC is in the forefront of ensuring a sound cybersecurity culture that is built on people, processes, and technology.
With some online fraudulent activities being reported in some quarters linking cybercrime to certain national identification numbers, NINs, the idea of NIN registration, which was meant to curb cybercrime, becomes questionable.
The Commission has not received any comment to that. But if there is anything like that, then any service provider that is provided the NIN, the law that establishes the mandatory use of the NIN for transaction also established the mandatory verification of any NIN that is provided, that is presented to a service provider.
As they deliberate on the matter, the need to secure Nigeria's cyberspace will continue to be on the front burner. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Nigerians who have not had the opportunity to register for their National Identity Number, NIN, are commending the federal government for extending the deadline again. Olajide Bello, however, reports that, alluring that those who want to use this window to enroll are facing some challenges.
Extension of the deadline by the federal government is premised on the appeal by mobile network operators and stakeholders in the industry. It will also provide an opportunity for the registration of Nigerians in remote areas, diaspora and diplomatic missions. This took me to the NIMC office, which used to be a beehive of activities. Now it is empty. I equally made an attempt to get the sign of the commission on the extension, but the gate was shut against my crew. Just as I was about to leave the premises, I met Aliu Ismail, who had earlier been attended to. He said he came to the NIMC office for corrections on his name. To his greatest surprise, he was asked to pay.
But the only thing that gave me challenge, that even make me move out of the place, is that they asked you to pay 15,000 naira. They have to pay each. No, it was there. It was written there that purposely for the NIMC.
I come here now. He tell me that is the one activate my number for me. I said, why you call the number before they all activate my LN number? So I want to make it call my SIM now. But SIM, it never works.
Others, however, commended the federal government's initiative. It is hoped that Nigerians who are yet to enroll for their NIN will use this opportunity to do so before the deadline. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Let's now join Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila with a live report from the venue of the upcoming 9th edition of the ECOWAS Wrestling Tournament.
At the wrestling arena here in Dakar, Senegal. This is another step in the ongoing 9th edition of the ECOWAS Wrestling Tournament, known as TOLAC. With me is Mr. Francis Chooks. He is the Director, ECOWAS Sports and Youth Development Center, where his office is in Ouagadougou. Sir, we would like to know what's going on here.
This morning we are doing the medicals. We have a team of doctors here checking to ensure that the vital signs are okay. They check from the medical side that you are fit in terms of your health. They also check that you meet the weight category that you're competing in. And then once you're certified fit to compete, you come in and do the pairings, and then you select your opponents blindly, and they put you into your various category, and then also into the groups. Tomorrow the group competitions start with individual weight category elimination series up to the finals. So you determine tomorrow who the semi-finalists will be, who the finalists will be, both just for the individual category. On Friday, the group categories will take place up to the semi-final stages, and then on Saturday, you have the final groups to determine who the winners will be and who the second and third places will be.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let's have Mr. Sinovic Baltic, the Nigerian captain of the wrestlers. Sir, how prepared are you?
We are prepared for this tournament, and I believe that we are here in Dakar to make sure that Nigeria government, Nigeria officials, our fans over Nigeria's, have a good lookings in this tournament.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azebi. You've had it all from the Director of the ECOWAS Sports and Youth Development. Back to the studios.